The first 90 days after resignation or retrenchment can define your financial future. It's a period marked by uncertainty and emotional stress. The decisions you make about spending and saving can either stabilize your position or deepen financial risk. Joining me on the line is Zanele Zungu. Zanele, a very good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Africa. Thank you so much for having me, and good morning to your listeners, bright and early.
Why are the first 90 days after resignation or retrenchment so critical financially, do you think?
The first 90 days are critical because it marks a period of acute transition, and typically that comes with emotional and circumstantial instability. So whether the exit was voluntary or involuntary, typically emotions are high and can be quite overwhelming. And so one's immediate financial behavior and actions can have a very large and critical effect on whether they're able to sustain their financial landscape, create security, or lead to depletion of their available capital in exacerbating the destabilization.
And what do you find are some of the biggest mistakes that we make should we find ourselves in a situation where we've just lost a job or we've just been retrenched?
I think one of the common mistakes that we see and the easiest to make is maintaining the same lifestyle that one had before. So this is typically a function of a lack of proper budgeting and really getting into grips with the necessary adjustments that need to be made. So whether one needs to fasten their belt in the absence of the income that they would have ordinarily generated from their employment, typically what we see is that people live far beyond their means instead of adopting a more frugal lifestyle given the change in circumstances.
I suppose partly because there would have been a massive deposit in your bank account, right? Either from whatever retirement savings you might have had or UIF or retrenchment package payout rather. And you think, oh, okay, I have a lot more resources without realizing that, wait a minute, this is it for the next while. You don't know where the next tranche of income is going to come from.
Absolutely, Africa. Absolutely. It's exactly that. It's the misconception and also the feeling that receiving a lump sum gives a person, right? So what we find is that people don't make the necessary plans to understand how much they need to sustain themselves over extended periods of time. And given the unemployment rate, one really doesn't know where their next job is going to come from or whether they're going to have to look to themselves to adopt an entrepreneurial spirit or look for opportunities outside of traditional employment.
So what should we be doing?
Ideally, if one could actually sit with a budget first and foremost and establish what their expenditure looks like on a month-to-month basis. And as far as possible, cut down on discretionary spending, first and foremost. Where one does have debt, it is important to get in touch with your creditors and look for opportunities to really take advantage of the grace periods that may be available. Where you are paying premiums, it's important to look for freezers and negotiate lower rates, actively negotiate lower rates. Then it is important to look to convert the group benefits that would have ordinarily been available through employment into your personal capacity and while within your financial parameters once those have been established by doing a budgeting exercise. Then I do think it's important for somebody to get in touch with their financial advisor because there are financial blind spots that one doesn't necessarily become aware of until it is brought to their attention. And given the rush of emotions during that sort of state, it can easily be overlooked.
That's very, very wonderful sound advice, Zanele. Thank you very much. Zanele Zungu is an advisory partner at Citadel, reflecting on what decisions we need to be cognizant of in the first 90 days after we either resign or we are retrenched, because the decisions we make then can shape our financial future.